another one here. And this is about infantry drill movement. So we're going back to training here. The herald commands: silence, observe orders, do not worry, keep your position, follow the standard, do not leave the standard and pursue the enemy. The troops then advance at a steady pace and in silence, without anyone even whispering. They should become accustomed to these movements so that as a spoken command, a nod, or some other signal, they march or halt, reduce or divide the depth of the files, march steadily in close order for a good distance over various kind of terrain, close or tighten their ranks in depth and width, march, engage in mock battle, sometimes using staffs and sometimes naked swords. So this is a really important one. This is reminds me very much of something that we used to do. So he's saying you're going to do a drill, right? And you're not allowed to talk. You have to be completely silent. And this is something we absolutely used to drill us in the SEAL teams, where you're not allowed to talk. And we would actually sometimes take radios away. So, hey, everyone turn off your radios. So you just have to figure this out. And if you run like that all the time, eventually everybody learns how to, it makes everyone more proactive, because you're not going to hear a command. The boss isn't going to get on the radio and say, flank left. That's not coming. So you have to learn to look around. You have to learn to sense what's going to happen. And it makes everybody better at what they're doing. And I'll tell you, I've talked about this before. We didn't, in my task unit and my platoon, we didn't talk on the radio. We barely talked on the radio. If I came on the radio and said something, it was like, everybody was, Jocko just talked. Or, Leif would say to me, Jocko, I'm moving to building 48. I'd say, do it. They'd go. He'd say, Roger, and he'd go. They wouldn't say anything else. And that was because when we were in training, we would do these drills where we wouldn't talk. You're not allowed to talk. You're allowed to make a head nod. You're allowed to give somebody a visual signal, but you're not allowed to come on the radio and you're not allowed to talk. And that makes you so good. What it does is it makes your non-verbal communication skills on point. It was cool when I went to officer candidate school. So at officer candidate school, they got all these weird things that they do to you. And I'll give you a couple examples. One of them is you're not allowed to look at your food when you're eating. Okay. So you have to stare straight ahead. Yeah. And this doesn't sound like a big deal, because you think to yourself, well, I'll just look at my food, right? If you look at your food, everybody can see it. And the drill instructors come over and they start, what are you doing? Look at your food. You're not supposed to look at your food. Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to just look straight ahead. You're looking straight ahead across the table, and you're just guessing where your food is, pretty much. Yeah. Stabbing your fork into the tray of food that you have in front of you. And it's a little hard to eat. And then over time, you start to be able to utilize your peripheral vision a little bit more so that you can see it without looking at it. That's one. The other one, I think I've talked about this, is you have to scream everything that you say, right? There's all these little things that they make you do.
Go ballistic.
Right? Go ballistic at all times, right? I've told that story before. But when it was pretty cool when my drill instructor, gunnery sergeant, Marine Corps, awesome guy, when we got done, he was explaining why we did all this stuff. And the one about not looking at your food does come from improving your peripheral vision, because the way the officer candidate school was originally set up was for pilots, potential Navy pilots. So guess what? You got to be able to see your instruments down below you while you're looking around and scanning for enemy aircraft. And so this is what it does. It allows you to improve. Well, this is the same thing. When you build that muscle memory of, hey, I'm not going to talk, and I need to look around, and I need to be mentally proactive and make sure that I'm not going to hear anything. So as a junior guy, I'm not going to hear anything. I have to look around. I have to make a decision. I have to absorb and figure out what's happening. That is unbelievably good. So anybody that works in an environment, police officers, obviously military, do these silent drills. Do them. It'll make you that much better. What's funny, I was just relaying the mats at our gym the other day, and Andy was there. Big Andy, by the way, just got his black belt, by the way. Andy. Yeah. We were relaying the mats, and, we're just working, and we didn't say a word to each other for 5 hours. We're just picking up stuff and doing stuff. And, he's an iron worker by trade. And so he's just a guy that, he sees me doing something, I see him doing something. It's what is nonverbal communication. Just nonverbal communication. Work on it. It's awesome.
Yeah.